Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Ironis Insights. I have a special guest here, Richard Avery, the CEO of Titanium Computing. Richard, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Alex. It's a pleasure to be here.
Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling to you out of Austin, Texas.
Beautiful. Thank you for joining us over in the big city, New York. Looking forward to a conversation. We were talking a little bit offline about what you guys do at Titanium. You were just ordering a really cool lockpick set. Looking forward to diving into a little bit more about why you guys are doing that.
Yeah, literally 15 minutes before this podcast started, Covert Instruments, not affiliated, not a shout out. It is a shout out, but it's not like I'm not paid for it, not a paid sponsor. Covert Instruments drops handmade custom lockpick sets, and every time I'm late to the game and I don't get to order one, and right when the podcast was supposed to start, I'm like, Alex, you gotta hold on, give me a minute, and I went through and there was only two sets left.
I already looked
So
right now; they're
yeah,
already sold out, and I'm kind of jealous because they look really cool.
I've been waiting to buy a set for quite a while. Quite a while. They sell out so fast, which tells you a little bit of the pen test market, right? When you talk about what are we doing with that at Titanium, it doesn't matter whether you're taking your Security Plus or your CISSP, one of the domains of security is physical security. I don't need to care about your $15,000 firewall if I can literally just pop into your office with a little piece of metal, walk into your server room, pick your server up, and put it in my trunk and drive home with it, right? So
I mean,
people aren't thinking of that.
this is something really interesting because, I've spoken to a number of guests here and we never really touch on, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, the physical security component, but we really never touch on it that much. And I think it's one of your focal points, which I think is very interesting. I mean, you said yourself, your business card is actually made to break into a lock. Is that right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, there you go.
but I've got two business cards. One snaps apart into lock picks. The other is a door
So cool.
hook shim tool. My other ones are plastic, so you can actually use it as like a credit card to credit card door. We will have a long time customer, and they just acquired a facility that they plan on having be a secure facility. They're going to do some really, really fancy stuff with some very intense levels of access control and clearance and compliance. And I'm walking through the facility yesterday. Two out of five of the executive doors that are supposed to be like really sealed, heavy duty doors, I was able to break in with that card. And the guy's walking around like, what kind of IT guy are you? Right? That's the question. So it becomes this very strange thing. When a bank hires us to do a pen test, it's to break in and implant a device,
Mhm.
plug it in the wall, get it under a desk. Can you get in the bank, be unrecognized, plug they provide the device, right? They're going to provide the device. I plug the device in. And can I get out before the cops show up? That's the question,
Mm.
right? So that's usually the way that banks do penetration testing because they want to see if I can get a device on the network and get out in time because, then somebody could do some Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12 stuff, right? With the data manipulation possibly in the network. And that attack happened to NASA like 10 years ago. Like somebody pulled the port off the wall, which is why I make all my guys learn cabling, right? Pulled the port out, tested the port, found out that there was PoE on the port, pulled the port off the wall, rewired the cabling, put a splice in it, put a Raspberry Pi with a 4G backhaul in it, tucked the whole thing up into a wall, and left. And they managed to exfiltrate data from the from NASA's network with that tactic. So it's not that it's kind of edge casey, but these are real attacks that people talk about and showcase, and other attackers know that these exist. So
So
not having it in your security plan can be a bad choice.
yeah, do you actually banks are your clients? You actually do this for banks?
We do projects for a lot of people.
Uh,
Banks have been those people. So sometimes we get interesting customers that aren't the MSP or the, give us help desk, give us cybersecurity, we want to send a ticket in and fix our printer kind of stuff.
mhm.
But because we do a lot of more advanced stuff, we'll get people that'll call us all from all walks of life. We had a guy downtown Austin owns like 15 of the old buildings, and he calls up. He's like, "Hey, you got a laptop there with a serial cable?" I'm like, "Yeah, we got a couple old laptops that have serial ports in them because most modern laptops just all USB, right?
Yeah.
Getting a serial port in a laptop is like very rare at this point." And he's like, "No, you've got to send me a picture. You got to send me a picture that you've got a cable, that you've got a laptop with a serial port." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Like so I sent him like, "There you go." He's like, "Oh, cool. Okay, great." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "I've called 15 companies and one company said they did, and then they came on site and I found out that they had no idea what they were talking about."
Mm,
He's like, "If you have that and you can get to my customer location, I'll pay you 3 grand." Okay, well, what are we doing? He's like, "You're just going to let one of my techs remote in and control the laptop, but we need it to flash firmware on an HVAC system that's $15 million in a 28-story building in downtown Austin. And I have 12 buildings. And if you guys are the guys that keep this kind of hardware on stock, you're going to be my go-to because everyone else has no idea what the hell I'm talking about."
wow.
So we've got a lot of the edge case niche stuff that most other IT companies, most MSPs can't or won't touch.
Yeah, no, that's extremely interesting. So, I mean, this brings me back to which is usually, my first question. It's like, how did you get into this? What's your background?
My father was a locksmith, so I
Uh-huh.
was drilling safes and picking locks before I was 9. I was born in upstate New York, Endicott, New York, which is the birthplace of IBM,
Yeah,
arguably the birthplace of cybersecurity.
yeah.
I worked there, got into some IT jobs, did some help desk jobs for some companies, Modern Marketing Concepts. It was one of the marketing companies that I did IT at, which became a thing. I have an MBA in marketing because I worked at so many marketing companies. It's weird. And then I left those and got hired into Lockheed Martin, got my clearance, started working for classified labs, started doing a bunch of projects and stuff, and then moved to Austin, wanted to upgrade my presence, and then worked for an MSP. My first exposure to the MSP world at a company called Network Logistic, which has been purchased and rolled up and doesn't exist anymore. And then I got hired and started working for the DoD. So I did 3 deployments to Iraq, 9 deployments to Afghanistan, um, doing specialized military intelligence, recon, eye in the sky kind of stuff. Being the system administrator, cybersecurity administrator, network administrator. I mean, when you're overseas, it's whatever they need you to do. Do cybersecurity scans, sure. Run a cable, okay. Fix a printer, okay. Like you're the guy, you have to do everything. So
Right.
it's right. It's a person of a lot of hats. And then when I left doing the DoD at the end, where I was doing information assurance, information security, compliance, documentation, NIST, then I started Titanium, and I've been doing this since April of 2016. So we're coming up on our 10-year anniversary.
All right. Well, congratulations. I mean, things sound like they're doing great. I mean, you're obviously qualified.
Well, that's why I keep telling myself.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you see right now that is working for you? Obviously, you have this interesting niche that you can play to, but what else are you doing? I mean, involving cybersecurity and what's working for you?
Well, I'm writing another book called "Don't Worry, I'll Let Myself In," which is just stories of a pen tester and recommendations on what you should be doing about your business, about your network. We're seeing a lot of high net worth individuals as the boomers age out and start retiring. They're retiring from advanced position jobs with a decent amount of money, and people are attacking them. Like we already know that there's a significant external to the America infrastructure attacking our elderly. It's a multi-billion-dollar a year situation. Well, now those elderly are people that are retiring from HP, from Dell, from a lot of larger places, and they, Best Buy, the Genius Bar are just not ready for somebody like getting into your phone and installing a rootkit, taking over your desktop. We had someone that we were consulting on. They got in and they ported out their phone number after they got into their system. They were able to impersonate the person, got the ISP to port the phone number out, and then use that phone number to take over all of the rest of their infrastructure because that was what they used for their multi-factor authentication, right? So we're seeing attacks getting very sophisticated when we're targeting them at someone who doesn't have the technology, but they've got $5 to $50 million to lose. So there's an entire market over there that we're ramping up products to start targeting. Because what's the difference between a business that's doing $5 million a year and a person that's doing $5 million a year? From the attacker standpoint, nothing. They both want access to that bank account to take that money.
And in some ways, it might be easier, right?
Way easier.
Yeah.
Because with a company, you might have resources, you might already have an IT consultancy, you'll probably already have enterprise level products, right? Home level products for cybersecurity totally different than enterprise level products.
Yeah.
So like you're trying to protect yourself on your computer with Norton, and you have no idea that Norton's already been hijacked and taken over. And the guy's moved from your desktop to your TV to your printer, and he's taken over your whole network because he's using AI and more advanced sophistication. The person you're attacking doesn't even know how to use a computer fully sometimes. So yeah, it's becoming a bad problem.
And are these folks reaching out to you or are you finding them?
We were discovered. One of our clients actually brought it up. He was looking for someone for weeks. He's a former HP executive, and he was being targeted, actively targeted, hacked, and he called around. And most MSPs and IT companies were like, "We're not interested, and we're not like, oh, you're being attacked actively. Oh, we don't know." Right? No, and he said we were the only company that leaned in, like, oh, tell us more. What are they attacking you with? Right? So um most MSPs are not cybersecurity shops. They don't have a good cybersecurity team, and their cybersecurity team is for internal. So when a husband and wife says, "Hey, I want you to protect us," they're like, "You're a little small. We don't want to take you on as a business customer, especially because you're telling us you have severe problems right now. That means you're going to be a bunch of work, too super hard to front load, and we might not have the skills to protect you, and we don't want to admit that. Right? We've got some tools. Like I did a pen test that of a company that had a large MSP, 600 employees, and I walked in and they're like, "Oh, we've got all these tools. Our MSP is going to take care of us and yada, yada." And I'm like, "I see a bunch of problems here inside your network. I see a bunch of problems in your company. Let me do a pen test for you." So I sit down, I walk in, I'm at the desk. The IT person who is the company IT person is watching me, and I'm like, "Hey, all I'm going to do is show you that no one is watching, right? They've got all these fantastic tools. They got SentinelOne, they got ThreatLocker, they got DNS Cisco Umbrella. They should be able to see every website I go to, everything I try to run, everything I try to do. They have the visibility with the tools they have installed. Well, let's see if actually anybody's actually watching." So I go to my website, I load up my YouTube channel. I'm pulling up my YouTube videos. So I'm being very, very loud. This is who is here. This is who is at this computer.
Yeah.
And I start downloading hacker tool after hacker tool after hacker tool until I trigger ThreatLocker and trigger SentinelOne and trigger DNS Umbrella. I make sure I trigger all three of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great, now I'm going to go actually hack your network.
Yeah.
And then I hack the network and I take the network over 3 days later.
Yeah.
They never got a call.
Wow.
So, right, even MSPs who say they're MSSPs or they have all these tools in place, they're like, "Oh, ThreatLocker, yeah, blocked the thing.
Yeah.
It's doing its job." Well, maybe the guy is still there. That's coming after you. And one of the things that the DoD trained me on actively is that 25% of your attacks are inside the house,
Internal, right?
internal. So you might have an employee who's trying to exfiltrate data. You have an employee who's trying to download or get a QuickBooks file out to their Gmail account. Like it's not all outside coming in. It's people who already have access who might be trying to take and go out. So the
What I've
landscape is
also
changing.
what I've also seen is, especially with larger companies like 600 employees, right? Some things get lost. Someone gets fired, someone dies, someone's no longer an employee at that company, but they may say they were a little bit higher up and they have more permissions than others, and then someone can get right in there without anyone noticing. I mean, you seeing something like that too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's uh automatic user spin up and automatic user spin down is useful and dangerous, right? As you need to have understanding of who's managing that and how it's being controlled. So, for example, uh, if you're using a system that with your HR PEO has a software that integrates and automatically spins up your Microsoft licenses and automatically integrates into your Active Directory or whatever your authentication system is, Azure or Google or whatever, and automatically does all these things. We're onboarding a customer or an employee. Here's everything, and we were offboarding this employee, and everything gets torn down. Was his projects backed up? Were his emails backed up? What's the backup? Like, what are you backing up in your company? And where is that going? And how is that being managed? And when you really think about it, now you need to ask the PEO company, like, hey, you can accidentally fire everyone in the company and lock us all out,
Oh,
right? So now the
yeah.
PEO company becomes a vector of attack for everything as well because they have the ability to start and stop employees. So how we offboard an executive who had sensitive data
Hmm.
can be really tricky because almost guaranteed they're going to come back and ask for something out of that person's folder, OneDrive, Google Workspace, files, something. They're going to ask for something, right? In the law office world, lawyers sue lawyers all the time. So it's like we have to back up email active. We do active 15-minute email backup increments.
Really?
So yeah, 15 minutes. So that if an employee is deleting email, it literally just says in the system deleted, right? They deleted it. Here it is, but they deleted it on their end, and we have it flagged and listed as that. So yeah, it can be tricky for advanced users or power users or executives, especially egotistical executives, right?
Yeah,
Executives that demand to have administrative power when they don't need it.
right.
It can be very dangerous to an organization.
No, I mean that makes sense. I mean, I'm still thinking about the 25% internal. Now, is that someone in the organization that is trying to get in it?
Well, they're already in it, right? It can be an employee, it can be a user.
I
When
mean,
I
trying to
was
harm it, I mean.
Yeah, yeah, when I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, so you've got Nipper and Sipper. Sipper is your classified, and Nipper is your not classified. So S stands for secret.
Mhm.
And the screensaver for that would talk about the Robert Hansen FBI, agent who was selling secrets to the KGB for decades.
Yeah.
They put him in charge of the team to find him. Like he was so high up, and that, massive insider threat. So,
Yeah.
organizations don't think about how organizations try to think logically, and people who are doing those things are thinking illogically. They're
Right.
thinking very emotionally based. There's a reason I'm doing this, or I'm being blackmailed to do this.
Yeah.
Right? Most people don't realize that I don't want to say half, 25% of your typical Indian call scammer is actually a human trafficked individual.
Hmm.
Or they have people who are blackmailing them because there's no social security system, there's no Medicare, Medicaid in India. So corporations will house your grandparents or your parents for you, but you're working the phones and you are scamming people all day long. And
Hmm.
that's just the payment of us taking care of you and feeding you and giving you some money and taking care of you when you don't have any other options.
Wow. I mean that's pretty crazy. That's something I haven't heard before. I still don't understand um that these people in their companies are actively trying to threaten that company. But now it makes more sense. You're saying maybe they're being blackmailed. Maybe, maybe it's not them choosing to do so. Yeah,
It can it can be a lot of different things. In the lawyer world, they're trying to take client data
right.
and then go poach the client. But that's not any different. We had a customer who was a pediatric clinic, and one of their doctors took their whole list and left and started their own practice legitimately with that list. So This is actually very common. Like you just think this is like corporate espionage at the levels of, the Fortune 500. No, this happens at small little clinics and at little doctor shops. And it's because no one has any control over data. No one has any control over access to that data. There's no alerting or monitoring on the access of that data. If people don't even know that they could have a problem, no one's explained it to them. Like, oh, we trust in our human resource process when we hire people to hire the best people. And you're like, sure, that's great. Tammy unfortunately got in a car accident 6 months ago, and her insurance isn't covering her pain meds. So she's starting to drift off of the normal pain meds onto some over the counter or off counter pain meds. And she needs to go get some more pain meds. She's not thinking logically. She's in pain. She's dealing with a lot of other stuff. She just wants her pain to stop. And well, oh, hey, this database full of all of our customers. Some dude on LinkedIn just said he'd pay me $50,000 for that.
Yeah. Wow. That easy, huh? Yeah, they can get you one. That's the low hanging fruit there.
It can be. One of our chiropractor clients expressed to me frustration one day because she had 10 claims just flat out denied by insurance. She's like, I wish I could just have these put these people in a chair and strap them in and make them
Yeah.
answer my questions. And I was like, you can totally do that. And she's like, what do you mean I can do that? I'm like, go find somebody on Glassdoor or LinkedIn that just left State Farm or just left Allstate or just left. They will possibly have left in a hostile way
Hmm.
or have been fired or terminated, and they might be a little salty. And if you just pay them $150 plus lunch, you can probably just get them to ramble everything that you want to know and more over the course of an hour on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And she came back. She's like, this was the most profitable $150 I've ever spent. Like this is amazing. This is like the secret. And most people aren't thinking of doing open source intelligence gathering like that. Being willing to spend 50, $100 to
Hmm.
go get a lead when the lead is like, 10, 20, 30, $40,000 of return. Most people aren't thinking that way. They're like, how do I go research and do these things? Oh, I'm just gonna go like find some dude that got fired and ask him, hey,
Yeah.
well, what's the back end systems they use there? Right?
Yeah.
You can find all sorts of information about people's LinkedIn from their resumes, and their resume is going to tell you flat out, oh, this is the systems I designed. This is what I built. This is what is running in the back end of this company that they're
Hmm.
not publicly telling you is what they're running in the back end of the company. Now I know how to go attack it.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely creative and but so simple at the same time.
Yeah,
Um,
it's definitely not unique to me. This has been in the hacker open source intelligence gathering space for years and years and years. How to
yeah.
use those things.
Yeah. Interesting. So with we're in 2026 now. You've been up and running for at least a solid 10 years. What You have plenty of five-star Google reviews. Everything's going great. What are you seeing changing, or how are you evolving with the evolvement of, AI and all of these different trends that seem to be
Oh, we don't have time.
loaded question.
So AI is going to revolutionize everything. And by everything, I really mean everything. Um, I'm seeing most executive conversations are you need to quiz your employees on AI and their AI use, and if they talk about AI resistance or that they don't want to use AI tools, you need to get rid of them as quickly as possible. Full stop. Fire them.
Yeah.
Because people are going to be if inquisitive or resistant. You want the inquisitive people. You want the people who are going to lean into it. And how do I make my job easier? How do I become faster? How do
Yeah.
I become more efficient? Not how do I keep doing my job the same way I've been doing it, right? Well, the reason there's you can't go back to pen and paper, right? That's why we have Excel. That's why we have email. That's why we have CRMs, to automate and make our lives better and faster and become more productive. So AI is definitely going to go in that direction. at the same time, I see a lot of companies deciding to do internal shadow IT with AI, not realizing the dangers that come along with that, right?
Hmm.
They're not going the AI is still not good enough. It is still a devil in the box. Like, oops, you're right. Sorry, I deleted the whole database. Right? If you Google Replit AI database error, you will find massive problems because it's a problem, right? AI is not yet there. Will it be? Absolutely. Someday it'll get there, and you can tell AI to, you know, go send the robot out of the garage to wash my car. Right?
Hmm.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But we're watching just cram AI into everything, just like everybody crammed a website in the .com days. Right? Everything was a .com, and if you were a .com, great, everything's going to be successful. We got to have a website. Brick and mortar is dead. You like whatever this, if you can recall those stories, which I can, um, uh, it's going to be just like that. Right? Is it going to change the world radically? Yes, just like the internet did.
Hmm.
Uh, are we going to have problems along the way? Yes, just like with the internet.
Hmm.
So we're also watching in the industry, specifically in MSPs, we're watching a lot of roll-ups. And we're watching the big players start offering professional services. So the big players are becoming competitors for the little players, and they're just trying to drive the little players out.
Yeah.
They want the little players to be sales reps effectively for the big players and not really have employees or having anybody do anything. They just want to be a call center, churn shop.
Hmm.
So that's going to be a problem. But what can you do? It's
If you're,
the
if you
innovation
could,
of business.
yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, times are changing, right? And yeah, you gotta go with the change, or you're gonna get thrown out with the bathwater. um, I, I would always like to ask you, if you could wave a magic wand right now and fix anything at your company, what would you change? What would you fix?
At my company in
Yeah.
particular, oh, um, I don't know. That's a good question. World peace is probably what I would try to get with a magic wand. Even though it's not my company in particular, it's where I'm at. So, um, that's a really hard question. I've got so much stuff going on here. From writing a book, which I'm not using AI for, because that just feels like it's cheating.
Yeah.
No, not throwing shade on anybody who is using AI to write books. Just saying, I want to have a real book that I wrote. I'll use AI to iterate it and turn it into videos and animated anime shapes of my hair glowing, and talking about that later. Uh, I think that I would like to have more of an education, just a wand that there was more education for customers
Mm,
because, right, like what's the most people don't no, most people don't even know you can freeze your credit on your own, that you have the ability to go log into your three agencies and lock those down, and they don't think about enhanced email protection, or they don't think about how they're doing password protection. They're like, oh, it's good enough, I don't need to worry about it. I'm going to do banking on the same phone that I scan random QR codes for menus that are stuck to a table.
yeah.
Right? That's not a good recipe. Right? If
Yeah.
I just decided to attack some non-high end places, because high end places still use real menus, um, if I just put a QR code on top of QR codes around town, that was a pass-through attack, that you scanned it with your phone and you went to a shady site and then it redirected you to the menu, you wouldn't even blink.
Yeah.
And now I'm in your phone,
Yeah.
right? So, uh, more education for people, not just business owners or executives, but for everybody. Like somebody's out there. There's the right size hacker out there for you.
I can't agree more with the education standpoint. It's something that gets brought up time and time again, especially in this podcast. And people, especially smaller companies or individuals, right? They think, why me? I don't have anything that's worth anything, right? These smaller shops or a small laundromat or just an individual, right? That maybe has like, I don't know, a couple 100,000 in savings. Who would attack me? Well, they will.
Uh, I did a presentation for the Texas Court of Appeals,
Uh-huh.
It was a live in-person presentation, and the person that presented before me was talking about it was very beautiful and wonderful, this sweet kumbaya. We're building, schools in Africa and in the Congo and this, and she's in the middle of this presentation. He's like, and it only costs us $1,200 a month to hire a certified teacher. And I'm like, all right, great. So she goes on, and I'm like, all right, hey everybody, I'm really sorry, I'm gonna have to harsh your mellow, right? She's been telling you all this sweet stuff. Did you hear what she said? $1,200 a month, certified teacher. So that means that if somebody like if the average income, now that's above average income, right? For the if you look at Congo's average income, I think it's $500 per person a month,
Hmm.
right? That means that if you have $10,000 in your account, that's more than a year of an average dude's income. Do you think that he's interested in getting your account if you have 2 grand? If that's 4 months profit or work for him?
Hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely he is. Like, so most people don't understand what is a starving level or a needful level of business skills to hack on the other side, and how desperate people are, right?
Hmm.
So there's if you've got $500 in your account, there's some hacker who's going to try and get $500 out of your account. Maybe he's going to only have a phone call to do it. He's going to try and sucker you into doing something stupid, or he's going to send you an email of like, hey, your Bitcoin transfer went through, call this number to get it reversed. Like, you'll get something, but
Hmm.
there's somebody coming after you no matter what, everywhere.
I really like that framing of it, and it gives a perspective of anyone can be attacked, and it's worth it for whoever's diving into it. Um,
If you
Richard,
look
I
at
I feel like we could keep chatting, man.
Probably, probably. We could probably talk all day, right? The GDP and population of Korea is perfectly aligned. North Korea, right?
Yeah.
I think it's 26 million people and 26 billion is the GDP. So
Uh-huh.
that means each person in North Korea makes an average of $1,000 a year.
Hmm.
You you think a North Korean wants to get in your computer if you've got
Yeah,
$500 in your bank account?
they'll take it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I think this is a perfect point to thank you, man. I don't want to take. I know you're really busy. I don't want to take any more of your time. I really appreciate you hopping on here. Where can my guests find you?
Well, you can check us out at titaniumcomputing.com. That's our
Okay.
website. You can check us out on YouTube, Titanium Computing. Google Richard Avery, Titanium Computing. If you need some cybersecurity, you want somebody to do a pen test for you, you want somebody to do some open source intelligence gathering on what kind of vulnerabilities you have, or somebody to help you manage your blinky lights. We take care of everything that's got a blinky light, and if it doesn't have a blinky light, we'll get some super glue and give it a blinky light. We'll take care of it.
Amazing. I'll put those links here below the video. Thanks so much, Richard, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks a lot, Alex. I hope you have a great day too.
Thanks.